Now that we have our team summary, can we start to see our data in relation to our planned loading? In this Power BI for Sports Science tutorial, we're going to incorporate planned loading into our team summary pages, so stay tuned. If you're finding my videos for the first time, please make sure you hit like and subscribe below to be notified of future videos. So this week what we're going to do is we're going to add a few cards here to our team report, and then we're going to start another page for our team sort of longitudinal reviewing. But what we're going to do here is we're going to put some cards that help us to see in relation to our planned load what our sort of 7-day values are. So what we need to do for that, it's a couple of steps, and what we need to do is we're going to go into our training load table here. First we need to look at it, and we're going to see what we already know, that we have athletes on a given day. But now we need to kind of see a team average for that given day. So what we're going to do is I've already imported my planned load table. And what I'm going to do is just create a new column here. And what we need to do is we're going to call this, let's just go TD actual. And we're just going to do this for total distance today. And we're going to do a couple things here. We're going to get the date from here. And all you need to do for that is, let's just type in date as this when you're using a column. You just need to specify the column that you're looking to store the date from, or the value you're looking for. And then we're just going to filter our training load table, and we'll just do that here. So training load, and then we just want the date from training load to equal our stored value. And then the last thing we want to do is get a training load value, and for that we're just going to use average x here. And so we just need to define our table, and then we're just going to look for total distance from the training load table, and then we're just going to return underscore trval. And then we'll just take a quick look at that and see what it looks like. And there we go, we've got some values. So on the days they're off, you're going to see a 0. That's perfect. Alright, so now that we have that, what we can do is we can now create, for example, a 7-day measure to get an idea of where they're sitting. And we can do that for 2 values. So let's open up our tabular editor so we can copy some of our previous measures over. But what we're going to do this time, instead of using our date table, we're keeping our planned load separate. So if we go into here and we'll just pull out, total distance. I'm going to copy that into our planned loading, create a new measure, planned 7-day. We'll just put this into a planned versus actual 7. Okay, so we'll copy in our measure, and this time we're going to use planned load. And then we also need that to be in our dates and period, because we're not going to use a separate table anymore. We can save that one, and then we can also just create a new one, and we'll call it actual. Actually, let's just do this. Let's delete this new measure. Let's duplicate and call it actual 7-day. And then we just need to change our column here to TD underscore actual. We'll save both of those and make sure we don't have any errors. It looks okay. So what we can do now is we can create a couple of cards. So let's just copy one of these over from previously. grab our chronic one. Oops. And it's going to look huge because our player values for 7 and 28 days, they sum our values. So let's just create that there. And let's put in our actual here. So at the moment, our planned load for actual over that period of time, our actual value over that period of time is this 37 currently. So it's the average of all of these players here. And then what you can do is we can just create a value that gives us an idea of how much above or below. So say, for example, if we are 1.5 kilometers above, you could have an average or give a value, or if you are doing 20% more, you could do that. So let's just create another measure here. And let's just call it TD difference. TD 7-day. And we will just go var underscore value equals, and we'll go actual minus planned. We'll put this in brackets for now. And then what we'll do is, oops, I have spelt that wrong. What we'll do is we'll just add this onto our page here, so we get an idea of what this value is. And we'll put it in a card. So there our difference is 335. So we know that actual is above. So let's now divide that by our planned 7-day. Have a look at what that looks like. So it's 1%. We could skip a step and we could just see what the total amount here is in terms of a percentage for actual. Let's do that and see what we see. Let's see if it has loaded through here. It hasn't. So let's just go and refresh our data, and this should bring through your changes to your measures. There you go. So we know it's about 110%. So let's make this a percentage value, or 101% I should say, sorry. Okay. So if we know that, that's fine. So what we can do is we could use that value to create our background color. So let's create some rules. We'll stick this here and we will go to difference. Here we go. And let's just say, let's go 0.5, which you'd hope it would never get to. Let's go 0.8. And then 0.8 to 1.1. Let's change this to 0.9 then. Then 1.1 to 1.2, and then 1.2 or more. And then go OK. So there we've got our colors fitting within, and we can change our title now to being 7-day. Oh, let's go TD 7-day team average. Put it like that. And we have that. So what you could do is, let's do the same thing, and we'll do it this time for, let's go for one of our high speed values. So let's just go for band 5. We'll do the same thing, copy the same process, but this time we are going to change this to be B5, band 5 distance. There we go. And then what we can do here is we can change, or we can duplicate some of these. So I need to change this to B5 call this B5 actual, and then duplicate this as well. Oh. And we're going to go band 5, and then the last one, let's go B5 7-day, B5, oops, too far there, B5, and we'll hit save. So now we've got those as well. Let's just copy this one over, and we'll just place it in the middle here for now. And so we'll put our actual band 5 value, and then we'll go into our background, change our formula, and for this one all we should have to do is change it. Oh, I didn't change the name of it, but there you go. So if we drop that card onto here, we can see it's only 102%, so that's pretty good. So then we have a couple of cards that can compare to your planned training load. And that's kind of a quick step. Let's change the title of this before we move on. B5, there you go. You could have a couple there. You could choose some other things that you might want to see on this quick summary page just to see if you're above or below. And it'll be important. And what I'll do is I'll add this in before the next video, just a background to give you an idea of the colors and what they mean, probably just along the bottom for everything. But moving on, the next thing I thought about adding for you guys is what might be interesting to view is our planned load or our current actual data and what we have, and then when we're looking forward to try and forecast just to see what might happen with what our current plan load is. So what you can do, we'll do this with a column chart, and for this one it's going to use the date field from our planned load values. So let's add that in there, and for now we're just going to use total distance. So let's just add, for example here, this is our planned total distance over time. Okay, but what I'm going to do here is let's create a measure, and all we're going to do, I'm just going to change this while I'm here to B5. There you go. What we're going to do is we will add a measure in here, and we will call this one, we'll just go TD actual planned. And all we're going to do first, we'll just create a variable, and we'll call it planned, and we'll just sum. I'm going to use sum here. This will be important if you have double days in your data set to sum together everything on a given day. We're just going to use sum, and we will return that as a return underscore planned. You can format it, and then we will hit save. And now we've got our value, we can add that to our graph. So as we saw before, it's just exactly the same. But now the main difference we want to see is we want to be able to see is when we had actual values coming through and then what we have planned into the future. So what you can do is we will do the same thing as what we have done before, and we're going to add a few other variables. So the first one, we'll go var underscore date equals, and we're going to add our planned load date here again. But now because we're in a measure, we're going to have to use an aggregation to find the smallest one. And then what we'll do is we'll start at the end here. We'll go var, and we'll go actual data frame, or DF. It's looking for the table, and we're going to filter here. So we're going to use our training load table. And then we want to know, or we want to find the date for a given day. And then we want to know if that equals underscore date. Can close those brackets. And then for this example, we can just go var actual and then all we're going to do for this example, we're just going to use average x again. But this is just something to keep in mind going forward. If you have double days, is trying to find the average of a day when it's summed together. It's something you'll have to add in. So we're going to use our actual df, and what we're going to do is just find our total distance field here, and we'll do that. And then we'll create our value variable, which will be a if function. And we're just going to go if is blank underscore actual. Then give me underscore planned. Otherwise, just give me underscore actual. And then we want that returned instead of our planned value. So let's reformat that again. And we will hit save. And we can see here there's some differences already in terms of the values that have come through. We'll double check. Yep, it's our new one. And so you can see the changes here that have come through, some higher bars. But right now you can't tell when one is the other. So let's create the ability to do that. And all we're going to do is we'll keep it really simple. I'm just going to duplicate this. And now I'm just going to add color on the end. And instead of this here, all I'm going to do is change this. So if it's looking for the planned, it's going to put 0. If it's found the actual, it's going to give it a 1. Easy as that. Just a way of adding a color. And then we're just going to go into our data colors, add a rule again, and we're going to look for td underscore actual planned color. So if it's 0, let's just make it a blue color. And then if it's 1 is 1 number, we'll make it our red again, and we'll click OK. So now there you can see these are the planned values. If I change my date field here, you can see it change as you go. That's pretty cool. When you look at that, that's quite awesome. So now you can get a sense of when is you can look over time and see what you have planned coming up and what you've actually done. And from that point of view, you can also now start to create some rolling values. And that's something we'll look to do next time. So you can add some rolling 7-day or 28-day values on here, and you can kind of start to forecast out into the future and see what your acute and your chronic values might be. And you can do this specifically for given players as well. So what we'll do first is next time when we come back, we'll continue on this team page, and we'll add our rolling values, and then we'll work on some player versions as well, so you can see over time, forecast it ahead, what it might look like. But again, if you have liked this video, please make sure you hit like and subscribe below. And if you are starting to look at your team data, how are you looking at it in comparison to what you have done actual and what you've done or what you have planned for a given session? I'd like to hear it in the comments below. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you next time, where we will continue to power performance through data. Thank you.